Hi there and welcome to Sex and Sexuality. My name is Xolane David and I am your host. I am here with Puli M, who is the founder of this beautiful underwear line, which he's going to tell us about a little bit later on. But right now, we just want to find out who he is, where he comes from, and what he's about. So tell us a little bit more about your upbringing. Where do you come from?
Okay, I'm well known as Xolane David. I'm from a very small township in Ekurhuleni called Duduza. My upbringing has always been very interesting. What do I mean about that? My sexual status, my parent had to find out about it when I was 6 years.
Oh, my God.
At a very tender age. I was very confused. I didn't know what was happening at that present moment. My mom, who had so little information in regard with that, she struggled the most, to process everything that was told by the doctor. Apparently what happened, it was a roller coaster ride, I must admit. My family was drifted apart because of my sexual orientation, and it was only 6 years I didn't know what was happening.
Wow.
And I guess my father, he was very disorientated. He didn't know what was happening at the time.
Obviously, he's a father. He's a black father. He's expecting to have a boy that's going to take over the family.
And he has 3 boys. Now one of these boys has come, So at some point, I think he thought that it had to do with diets. My diet had to be corrected. I need certain nutrients and whatnot. I'll come back to, my
denial.
Denial,
no?
I think he was the one that was in denial for the longest time. But with the grace of God, I think they took a turning point. The family was very supportive, more especially the relatives. They were supportive to an extent that my mom was able to digest everything. And she has been like, a center of everything. Yeah, she's late now. Okay. And so upbringing has always been nice, apart from the fact that we need to acclimatize, within my sexual orientation. I'm only feeling it right now because when I was growing up, I was under the impression that me and my brothers, we get along very well. So both my parents are late and they're showing me flames that, no, they don't appreciate the person that I am, but I don't take much from that.
Hold on. Before we talk about your siblings, right?
Yeah.
What is this event or the turning point in your life when you were 6 years old that made everybody just lose it? What was this?
There was no turning point at all. When you're at school, you get to have this visit from the health department. And I think in one of those visits, they would, take girls out and then they would remain with boys to do those regular checkups. And I think in one of those checkups, they picked up that from my scrotum, there's one egg that was missing. I had to get a referral to a doctor. And the doctor was like, no, there's nothing to panic at all. It's either Xolane is going to come up as a barren or is going to come up a gay. So you just need to relax, So
wait, how did the doctor make that decision that it's either he's going to be barren in terms of being a guy and going forward, or he's going to be gay? Like, how does having one scrotum make one gay?
I don't know. But I guess her predictions were quite right. I started feeling it when I was 13. Like, no,
unless he was
wrong.
Also gay and he could see.
I'm thinking that.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So I'm thinking that was the case at the time.
Yeah.
So I was very young to understand what was happening. So my mother had to take a toll on it. Her BP went up. African.
It went
woman.
up because of her hearing that you probably going to be gay.
I think it was the confusion around it because this was something that was foreign to her. She was never exposed to anything that was gay or lesbian, during her upbringing or during her era. And here she was now, fully grown woman. She's got 3 kids, only to find one of these kids, turned up otherwise. So I'm thinking the frustration was coming from such, areas.
So what was the expectation, though, coming from a family? I mean, obviously coming from your dad's side as a man, putting in mind his upbringing also, and then your mom, like, what were the expectations for you boys in the house?
I think the expectations were that we're going to marry women one day and have many kids, and they'll be proud grandparents. Yeah. I'm thinking the expectation was that. But the expectation had to shift now. It had to take a transition because they had to accommodate, something that was foreign within their space. And I always applaud her that she did it, remarkably, without us feeling the shift, without feeling the pressure that was from the community. Because, the community always talk as well.
Always.
That, what the hell are you raising such a... I will beat that child. That gayness will come out of that
the
child.
Demon will go out.
Actually. So she had to close her ears, and look at her space, and try to make this space as healthy as possible for me and my siblings. So I'll always, applaud her for that.
So, but now, how did you move forward as a 6-year-old growing up? How did you move forward in terms of now your lifestyle?
From a very tender age, I must be honest with you, I was very confused. I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't tell if I was gay or was lesbian or whatever. The only thing that I knew was that I'm a young boy, but I have this extraordinary feminine side with me, and I like to embrace it. I used to have your singles at times, put on your red lips.
At that age?
At that age. And she was very accommodative and very understanding.
Okay.
But I didn't know what was happening with me up until at the age of 12 when I was in high school. I remember I wrote in my diary that I think I'm gay. There's something wrong that I'm feeling, and then she got hold of that diary. She read it and she confronted me. Are you really gay?
Oh, mothers and reading kids' diaries.
Mothers and reading.
Oh, so how did you? I mean, when she asked, "Are you really gay?" I mean, obviously she's been struggling with this thing from when you were 6, and she's also been in denial. Then, if she's going to ask you that,
and she wasn't.
How did she now ask you this question, and what was your response to that?
It was very easy for me to tell her that I think I am gay. So I've never experienced any closet because from growing up, she was able to nurture whatever that was happening.
Okay.
She never shouted at me when I put it, red lips or whatever. She never said anything. She was very understanding. So I'm thinking to myself in the back of my mind that she was just waiting for that right age for me to come to her and sit her down. That I think, yes, this thing is happening, So.
And your siblings? Being boys. I mean, boys are boys. They come from this family where their father expects something of them. And then there's just this gay boy amongst them.
And it's so funny because my siblings were very accommodative and very loving. They gave me so much love, so much support. We got along so very fine,
How did that happen at that time, especially? Because obviously even they had a problem probably somewhere at school. People were looking at them. People were talking. How did they deal with that and then coming back into the house? I think they've been
suppressing that, in everything that they're getting out from the society and whatnot. I think they've been suppressing that, and that thing has been like boiling, like a volcano. It was just erupting.
When did it come
when
out?
Both parents were late, I think they were in a better space or in a better position to come out clean with their feelings that we actually don't like you. It wasn't as painful because growing up, you meet a lot of people that have been rejected by their families, by their communities. So I think you absorb certain elements from that. So getting it at this age was like, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. I can live with that.
So did they set this up as a formal meeting? We need to talk to Xolane, and we're all going to tell him we don't like him. Or he's just made our lives a living hell.
We were in and out of courts during 2018 and 19. So it has been like hell, So
have you guys been fighting about
like
something
hell,
as a result?
I had to get a restraining order for my younger brother. So it has been like hectic.
And you only have brothers?
I've been called names. Yeah, I have 2 brothers. I'm the third one. And then I've got 3 beautiful sisters from my aunt's side. Okay. So in most of the time, I spend time with them.
Oh, obviously the girls are a little bit more
very accommodative.
But have they come to you with maybe concerns also? People are talking behind their backs also?
Not at all.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay. And how old are these girls?
Okay, my big sister, she's turning 38. She's married with 2 kids.
Okay.
And then the second sister, it's 30. And the last one is 26.
So what influence do you think you have over them and their kids? I mean, obviously being such a liberated person and living your truth, right? They must have learned something from you, and I'm sure you can see it when you're with them. especially being the accommodating people that they are.
Yeah, hey. Okay, I do a whole lot of things around the house. My sister, she's got a daycare center, so I do her admin, and her kids, they used to go in the very same center. So I used to do mini movers with them. So I spend a whole lot of time with them.
Yeah.
So the influence comes natural. That person that would always cook in the house, and they would always say would want to assist you. You know, whenever I'm not around, they'll make the salad that I was making. So I can see the
nice.
influence here and there. I'm one person who likes taking pictures. Whenever I want to take pictures, I will, invite the kids, especially my niece and my nephew, that you be my photographer and said, what? They love taking pictures as well now, They love dancing. So I influence here and there,
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you, when did you realize you were different? But as you said, you're actually 6 years old.
But that's not realizing. It's being told that something it's wrong, because you can't feel, you can't even tell what's happening. At 6, you're just being told.
You're just different, but you don't know why.
You don't know what's happening to you, up until at the age of 12. That's when I started picking up. When you're from primary and going to high school, you'll hear boys saying, hey, there's that dream that you're going to encounter. I've waited for that dream.
And it never came.
It never came. I was so frustrated for a very long time. What's wrong with me? Because I've heard that something like that needs to happen, but it never did.
So what is it that made you have the conclusion that, you know what, I think I'm gay? What was it around gayness? Or what was the education at that time around gays?
There was no education, I must admit. And I remember, I think when I was 12 years, there used to be gay guys. They used to come within my community. There's a guy by the name of Vusima, but I think in the 80s, he was a musician. He used to be big. So in the early 90s, his friends used to come and visit him, and they were fully fledged gay people. Some were drag queens. And at that time, that thing was very taboo. Whenever they would come, there would be kids gathering around them,
It's like a spectacle.
It's like
don't
it's the
understand
5th
what's
of November.
going on.
No, it's penny Guy Fawkes of some sort. And whenever they pass by, they would always tell me that omnye wethu, that would you're
one of them.
Exactly,
like basically.
That would tear me apart.
And you're just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Guys, with their makeup and whatnot and long hair, why are they saying I'm one of them?
Wow.
So I guess that was my first education, or the awareness, that there are people like that, and they are able to also pick it up that you are also one of us. But that it didn't make any sense at that time, up until I was in high school. Whereas now I'm going through a transition. I'm waiting for a lot of things that you're a teenager. You'll have to experience this as a young man. And at the very same time, you find yourself that there's something in you when you look at the guy, there's an interest of some sort. You get some chills.
Like,
hey,
guy, hello.
You. So I think.
Did you ever at that point try and speak to any guy? Try and say hello, try and say hi.
It's so very funny. There was this guy, we grew up together. So we would play house and whatnot. But I think playing, it was something that, it outgrew me at a very tender age. So when I was 12, the very same guy, he approached me. I remember me asking him, are you aware that I'm a boy, And I was like, yeah, but we can do this, And I was like, okay, no, it's fine. Let's try what you're saying and see if it can work.
Okay.
I don't like to.
What were you trying?
I don't know what was I to, because he only said, I like you. I want me and you, have that thing. I was like, okay, we can try that thing. But I didn't even know what was I trying, because this is a person saying that he loves me, and I understand that my parents love me and my siblings love me. So, it was, it's a little bit strange. Okay, so I guess at that time I was very young. I didn't know what was the relationship. I didn't know what was expected of me, and I also didn't know, what to perceive from this guy as well. So I was in a confusion of some sort. So,
how old was he? Sorry.
He was a little bit older than me. I was 12 at the moment. I was doing grade 7. I think he was at 15, 16.
Okay.
Then when I was in high school, now doing grade 8, we had that, the sabbatical space between me and that guy. Like, you know what? I think there's something that I need to understand. You know, give me some space so that I'll be able to process, you know, everything. That's when I went back to my mother. No, I think you need to explain something here. You know, so I was like, no, you need to listen to your body. Your body will talk to you. You know, as inexperienced as she was, but that really made sense. That you need to listen to your body. Your body will speak to you. Right now, it's not speaking to you. Concentrate on your studies. You know, when the time is right, you will know, and then you'll start dating.
And now, hold on. Going back to this guy, what was the relationship like?
He would come visit me, buy me lollipops, you know, would kiss me on my cheek. Oh, you know, that was so cute. It's like, oh, he likes me. So whenever somebody will talk about their boyfriend, I think I also have a boyfriend, you know.
Comes and kisses me
he comes and kisses me randomly.
Yeah, and he buys me some nice
he buys
little
me sweets. He buys me, you know. Yeah, so it was kind of cute. But I was a little bit confused because I couldn't interpret what was going on. Up until the age of 16, I think.
So 16, did you start dating?
I started dating. Yeah, going out, you know, going out to a movie, you know, getting to know the next person, you know. I think at 16, I was in a point whereby you need to find out from the next person, are you also gay? I think,
are you one of us?
Yeah, are you one of us? You know, are you really, really attracted to guys only? You know, I think at 16 it was just around those thing, and it was overwhelming because you find the guys that are bisexual. You also need to familiarize yourself with all these terms that are popping out. You know, one person will come up to you and say, "I'm versatile," and you're 16. You don't know all these things. That what is versatile, what is what, you know, and then you start building this wall. Again around yourself that, you know what, I think I am not yet equipped with what is happening, you know, within my space. You know, I need to equip myself. And I think I did that as a young person. I attended a lot of a workshop throughout. They've got offices based in Pretoria. I've attended some other workshop through NAPWA at the time. So I guess some of my equipment or the awareness on its own, that's where it emerged, you know, when I was around 16 and attending all these other workshops, you know, to talk about sexuality, you know, discovering yourself as a person. Actually, this is who I am, you know. And I think at that time, you undergo a lot of things because I remember when I was 17 to be precise, I was doing metric. And I was thinking to myself, you know what, I see that I'm a man. You know, how do I tell that I'm a man? It's because I have that male canal in me. But it's so sad that I don't feel anything so masculine in me. And at the very same time, when I look at a woman, there's nothing that tells me that I'm a woman. I've always felt as if I'm in a space whereby I can't actually give myself a tag of who I was, you know. Yeah. It's only up until now we have this your non-binary term, you know, and then you understand as a person, I actually fit, you know, in the non-binary term. But I think from 16, you know, going up, it was just a confusion because you're trying to adapt, you're trying to find yourself as a person. And it's so sad because at times you go to a public toilet, you use a male toilet, and you find males, they are so uncomfortable around you, you know, and sometimes it's like they're hiding their things, and you're asking to yourself, what's happening? I'm not here to look at, I'm just here to do my stuff and go out as well. Yeah. So I guess those are the things that you need to adapt to, you know, as a person growing up. Like you teach yourself these things every day, of course. You know.
Actually, talking about these labels, you say you're non-binary. Yeah. For people that don't understand what non-binary is, do you care to explain?
Okay, the non-binary term, we can actually say it's an umbrella that accommodates your demisexual, your transgender, your transvestite, you know, your gay queer like me, you know. So this non-binary thing, it's an umbrella for that. So these are people that do not like to be addressed as male or female, but they see themselves as... I see myself as a human being. Yeah, yes. I don't see myself as a man or as a woman. And I don't like being labeled as a man or as a woman. I'm just me. I'm I.
So what do you identify as then? Because there's he, she, them, they, it.
I'm a ver. There are certain terms that we use under non-binary. You know, your ver, your cis.
Ver.
Your, yes.
So which one is ver?
Ver doesn't say that you're a man or a female. I can just say it's also the very same thing.
I see.
So there's a lot of terms to accommodate that the non-binary umbrella thing, because we have people that have underwent the transition, the transgender thing, but they are not yet as recognized as females.
Okay.
So we can't say those people are
can't
females.
say
So
they're females
the
yet.
non-binary umbrella, it accommodates such things, because you find that I've underwent this whole thing. I've got boobs. I look like a female, but down there I still have that male canal. So I'm not yet a woman.
I see what you mean.
There's a whole other thing that also this non-binary thing, it accommodates those parts.
But in simpler terms, so here's the thing about society. We still have society that's educated, that has access to Wi-Fi, access to internet, access to education, all of that, that can still come and listen to what you're saying and go look at it and read up and all of that. But what do you say to the people that especially come from probably areas, not necessarily rural, remote areas where they actually don't have, as you know, in South Africa, we don't have Wi-Fi everywhere. Right? Even in malls, you find the whole Wi-Fi of a mall, they put it up to 500 megabytes and that's it.
True.
Once it's finished, it's finished.
True.
So people don't necessarily have internet. They don't necessarily have that type of information. The schools in those type of remote areas still don't teach anything about this type of community. So in simpler terms then, if any of those people were to meet you, how do they address you? Because they wouldn't know, they wouldn't have the background or the education or even the means to go do more research to try and talk to you or relate to you. So then how would they address you when they meet you? Because when they meet you at first point, they see you as a guy and they're going to address you as that. And you don't want to be labeled because you're non-binary. So how would you expect them to engage with you?
I'm a very accommodative person. I must say that. And I take whatever, how you would perceive me. If you see a man, you come across a person who would call you a lady, sissy. You cannot just say to that person, hey, when I'm not a sissy. So in whatever person would, address to me, I'm very accommodative. But wherever I go, I make a classroom. I teach people about sexuality. Why do I do that? It's because I feel that the Department of Education has failed us dismally. We have a subject, it used to be called guidance. It's currently called life orientation. And it's that subject that needs to cover such aspects. But it doesn't. From grade 8 up until matric, you can even go check their curriculum at the college, the FET level. They don't cover such. They don't cover any sexual orientation part. But they would speak about teenage pregnancy. They would speak about HIV/AIDS. They would speak about all these other issues apart from sexual orientation. So
I think it's lack of knowing still and lack of that education.
I think I cannot come up and say blame the community. Now I need to go and point out departments that are responsible. Because let us not forget that it's often the case that our issues as homosexual people or as LGBTQI community, our issues are always politicalized. Unnecessarily so. I think that on its own, it also takes a strain. That on its own, it's dividing us. That on its own has also impacted the fact that the Department of Education, it's not also, recognizing that just to have that one chapter, whereby we'll talk about sexual orientation. I think that could do a lot of difference because some of the things, they are better when you are taught, from at school.
Of course. Why then would you have books teaching kids about reproduction, teaching kids about anatomy and all of that? But you can't teach kids about sexuality. And knowing, this thing comes from way back. They just didn't even talk about it even back then. It's been there before
because
you and I were here.
The first gay march that took place in South Africa was in 1990. It was formed by the late Simon Nkoli.
Yes.
So it's the first gay march, it's older than the freedom that we are talking about. We are celebrating 28 years of freedom, but the march took place in 1990, which means it's 32 years, So
why was it still not recognized?
Thank you.
The people are still in denial. people are still, they're set in their ways and they don't want change.
That's the sad part.
And they don't want challenges.
They don't want challenges
Because
at
now
all.
you find people that are sitting up there in those departments that are not willing to have their minds changed because they're like, this is what I know and this is as far as I go.
Because I always ask myself, why would you have a psychological department within the Department of Education but do not address such issues?
That's true.
A lot of schools in the township, they don't have, your social worker that is assigned for the school. And these are other issues that these kids have, and they need somebody to talk to. So I don't know. Department of Education also needs to find a way, to reconcile what is currently happening. Try to fit it in their modules, more especially with life orientation.
And they need to partner up with the Department of Health.
Because
also the Department of Health has a huge responsibility to be teaching the community about the issues of the LGBTQ community medically. Because there's a lot that happens.
Sensitive one.
There's a lot that happens. It's a very sensitive subject.
Very sensitive one.
When you are sick, as you are, or maybe you've gone through the changes now, and after you've gone through these surgeries and so on, now you are sick, you need to go to the doctor, you go to a normal clinic, and they don't recognize you. They don't recognize the way they should be able to treat you, right? Because they don't have that. They don't teach that at the Department of Health right now to accommodate those type of people that are different from what the so-called society is used to, right?
True.
And these are the things we
These
need.
These are the issues that keep emerging.
That keep emerging. But anyway, tell me about lethosexual. What is lethosexual? Because I'm also learning, I'm doing a lot of research.
Sometimes this year I was suspecting that maybe I'm lethosexual,
What is that?
Okay, a lethosexual person, it's either you're gay or you're lesbian. But now, this is what gets to happen with you. You get to be attracted to a person. Immediately when that person is attracted to you, you lose interest.
No.
You can date somebody, but there are times whereby you don't want to be touched, you don't want to be intimate with them. It's like you want to be in a cocoon, you want to wall yourself in, and you always flirt. You love flirting, but when somebody flirts back, it's like playing a game of some sort.
Yeah.
I like that person, but immediately that person, when they have the very same feel, it's like,
not interested
you're
anymore.
done.
Okay.
It's like you're thinking you're pansexual. You look at a bisexual person can swing both sides. Can date a man, can also date a woman. But with pansexual, it needs to be my feelings that direct me. That today,
not the same.
You need to be with a man, a woman.
Oh, I see. So the lethosexual then comes that it. Okay. Does it matter, lethosexual, whether you are gay or lesbian?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. You can be anything.
You can be
but
anything.
As long as you are interested in someone, but then once they're interested in you, you're not interested anymore.
Exactly.
So it's like a little chasing thing.
A game of some sort.
They like you. And once you get the satisfaction of them liking you back,
it's fine.
No longer
you just want to live life. You just want to enjoy life, on all the attribute that comes with it.
So why do you think you're like that?
I get to feel like that, when I know that somebody's interested in me.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll be like, okay, it's fine. And when you're a lethosexual, I don't know. I was even asking, I think this other friend of mine, I'm thinking this lethosexual thing, I think it's a spiritual thing. Because there's that time that whereby you'll feel that you don't want to be intimate with anybody. It's like you take a sabbatical. And I'm so fond of doing such things. Take a sabbatical. No, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be touched. I just don't want to do anything. I just want to live life, be with my friends, go party, work hard, and forget if there's
about
any relationship
and all of that.
Yeah. And then it would come back, slowly make its way back. Something like that.
Okay. We'll touch on dating just a little bit. Let's check what are some of the biggest challenges you've had?
As a person.
Yeah, as a person. I mean, as a person, as who you are, as a business person also.
As a person. There are a lot of challenges, more especially when it comes to business. I guess when a person comes across a gay person, immediately they have a perception of some sort. When you are doing a service with a woman, there'll always be trauma, those type of things. Yeah, so
it's the labeling also.
It's not necessarily labeled, but they will try to be more friendly with you. And you know what gets to happen when I become more friendly with you, and there's a service that you're rendering, there won't be any payment that will come in after that. You know the type of things. Yeah. So you render a service with the man, they'll always feel you entitled that they are men, they are bold and whatnot, and then they will make you feel like I'm not a fool. Those type of things. So that one is
so they use the flirting as a way also to negotiate.
Thank you. So those are the barriers that as a gay person or a homosexual person you need to discard. Wherever you
because they have to take you as a human being.
They need
first.
to take you as a human being and
as a business person before your sexuality.
Because my sexuality is something that it's there at the back.
Jeez. Okay.
I don't know what's wrong with people, but it's like. You'll find other people taking gay people as if it's a circus of some sort. You'd look at the person even greeting you that, we'd never greet a person
like that.
Like that. You're not taking me serious.
So they become over the top.
Exactly.
As if they're entertaining this thing that you are. As if you are putting it on.
Exactly.
It's like all of us are playing a game now. We're wearing costume.
That you need to discard wherever you go.
And how do you deal with that?
That's
demeaning.
It's a classroom every day. And another thing that gets to happen is that when I am your friend, we are within the same circle. You will be more exposed to the gay person that I am. And when you come across a transgender or somebody that is a cross-dresser, you think that it's wrong because you are friends with me and I don't do that.
And you don't do that, yeah.
Vice versa.
But you don't understand other people are different.
When a transgender friends come across a person like Xolane that feel like, is he shy? Is he comfortable with who he is? I think that's another thing that we need to break away from. That we are all different. We cannot act the same. Just because I'm gay doesn't mean whenever I go, I'll be like... those type of things, because you come across a person greeting you like, hi, but you don't get to do that.
But why are there such expectations if there aren't the same expectations for so-called straight people?
I think even the media, it's also feeding people wrong information, because whenever there's a gay part, whether it's in a soap or it's in a drama, that gay person would always be flamboyant. I think that it's how we are teaching our people. We are giving them a direction on how to perceive. It's like now a homosexuality, it's another lifestyle that's in a different category. We cannot categorize it as this, the heterosexual one. I think we also need to move away from that.
Yeah, it's not a direct reflection of society. In society, most men that are gay are actually not flamboyant at all.
They are not.
They do not do that. They do not talk like that. They don't do such things.
But whenever you come across a person, their hands will be there. And you ask yourself that I don't get to do that. Where do they get that? So I think we need healing as a society.
I know.
And we need to expose these things. And more especially, there's a culture that we have created that we need to move away from this culture, because we have a new generation, and this culture, it's like it's been passed down. Whenever a person talks about a gay person, it's like now they're talking about something that is different. Labo. Immediately it's like you're moving them from the context to another one. So I think
there's still a lot of education that needs to come out, especially as you and I were talking from the departments, especially because they're the ones that have enough power to push this thing out.
Exactly.
Once they can get hold of the media, work with the government, work with other departments, get hold of the media and actually just push this thing out, because the more they deny, the more it's just going to backfire in their faces.
It does.
Because right now, if you can check most kids that are born in 2000, they're actually non-binary.
They are.
Most of the kids from 2000s, they're non-binary. They're just out there and they're like, yes, I'm a guy, but I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in girls. I'm actually not even interested in boys. I think I'm interested in trans people.
And I'm thinking it has always been like that, but it's just that we keep ourselves in a closet. Why do we keep ourselves in a closet? It's because the society already has got this fixed image, how the society needs to look, who is supposed to date who is supposed to marry who. Because, it's so stressful. You find that you're 25 years, you have a degree, but you're unemployed. The pressure that you're getting from the society will kill you because the society expects you that at that age, you need to be married,
Of course,
you need to be starting your own life and whatnot. So I think it's
but it's 2022 is not 1853.
Do you understand? I think the same way we are treating that, it's the very same way how we are treating sexuality. We want to treat sexuality as if it's something that is private.
And it's not.
It's not. This is
it
who I
should
am.
Be
it's
out
my
there.
Identity.
It should be out there like anything and everyone.
During the course of the day, you need to be a normal person. And then at night,
as they say, the after
nines. It's like now you jump into this body, your gay body. But during the course of the day, don't be in that body because it's not socially acceptable.
Yeah, it's not acceptable.
Because everything, when it's not socially acceptable, then it becomes a problem. I often ask myself, who made these things to be socially acceptable? Whereas now we are sitting with situations that are socially unacceptable.
That's true. Had they made it socially acceptable to start with, I don't think we'd have so many attacks. I don't think we'd have so many killings.
From the
I don't think we'd have
level,
so much harassment. Because people would actually understand what is it about this community. They wouldn't go out of their way to start hating themselves because as you and I were saying before we started recording, that there's so many men that are actually identifying as gay, but they don't know. Instead, it comes out in a violent way because they see it in somebody else. They see themselves. There's a mirror that another gay person holds to them and they don't like what they're seeing because society expects them to have kids and wives and stuff. Now, because they're angry with the fact that they can't live up to what society wants, now they want to come to you and fight you for being true to yourself.
Happy, from being true to yourself, to your own senses, to your own feelings. It's coming back to what I was saying, that I don't think this homophobic attack, it's always homophobic attack because phobia is when you fear something. And how can you kill something whereas you have a fear towards? Unless if you hate, then hate can aggravate into killing. So I think the problem that we're currently sitting with right now, people are out to explore, whether it's their sexuality or whatever, people are out to explore. People are discovering themselves, and I think more especially the ones that are discovering themselves, which, I think I might be interested or attracted to Xolane. I find myself attracted to Xolane. But I don't want the community knowing that I'm attracted to Xolane. Then that person will come to me and talk to me, and it's going to become a secret between me and that person because we're trying to exclude the community, or rather the society in the space. And now the sad part about this is that I am Xolane, I am gay, out, I'm proud of who I am, but right now I am taking somebody who is toxic into my space because this person right now, they're not comfortable with who they are. At the very same time, they're not comfortable being seen with me.
With you. Because mostly they're married.
Most of them, they are married, yes. So I think the problem starts there. Once we harbor the secrets of this man. What happens if I meet up with somebody who loves me for who I am and who wants to hold my hand walking in the mall, in public, and this person doesn't give that? What gets to happen if I move away from that the setup that I was having with that man? Do you think that man is going
to come kill you?
That's the very same person that's going to come back and kill me. So where is homophobia there? So I think we need to revisit all these situations because all these gay people, according to my understanding, they're not being killed because somebody hates them. How can somebody hate you then kill you or fear you? Fear, it's the right word to put. How can somebody fear you, then kill you? Because homophobia, it's all about fear. It's something that creates anxiety. So how do I kill somebody who makes me feel like I'm having anxiety when they're next to me?
It's people that are not comfortable with themselves and people that are jealous that you are now moving on to things that are better for you.
The person was very comfortable with me, dating me in that secluded space for 2 years without any person knowing. Immediately when I say I'm moving from this space, it becomes a problem to them. Where am I going to get the next Xolane who's going to understand that I don't want the community knowing, I need to come see him at night.
So I need to get rid of him because I don't even know if he's going to start telling society
or start telling
about
other
me.
people about me.
And I don't want anybody to know.
And it's very sad that we are always killed in the comfort space of our homes. And what's sad about it is that when you follow all these cases, there's no forced entry.
It was a lover. That's why there was no forced entry. You willingly opened the door because you trusted the person. So
SAPS is not doing their jobs. I can safely say that because we are too quick to categorize this and say it's homophobic attack. I think it becomes simple when you say that homophobic attack. How can it be a homophobic attack if I'm killed but I was raped? How can you rape a person that you hate?
That you hate. What is it that forced you to be forcing yourself on top of that person? If it's an object, because they look at people as objects. If it's an object you hate, you probably abhor to even touch it.
Exactly.
You detest even touching that.
Exactly.
So why did you go as far as taking out your most private parts, your most precious tool to be putting inside something you hate in the first place?
In the first place.
It has to get back also to, I think we need to call out, I'm going to speak about males.
Yeah.
Not like at the moment. I'll speak about females at another point, but we need to call out the males that are being put so much under pressure by society that they end up doing what society wants, go out there, have kids and all, but they know that's not what they wanted. And now they become the after nines because after 9, they go out looking for boys that they can be with, that they can be sexually intimate with. And they leave in their wives and kids at home to go and do that and be with other men out there. And then they come back to society and act and speak on these podiums as if
they are all squeaky clean.
They are all squeaky clean and they don't allow this thing of gays and all of that. But after 9, they're the ones calling these gay boys to say, listen, I miss you. I need to see you. Because they're running away from who they are. I think we need to get to a point as a society where people understand that we need to move away from this notion of a man and a woman
are supposed to
date and have kids and move on in life. We need to move away from that because that has never worked for us. Let's tell the truth. That has never worked for us. Because even back then, there were cases coming out of these married men being found somewhere at some other boy's house, or these pastors and bishops that are busy with young boys.
Exactly.
But they're married. They've got 7 kids at home. Right?
That we've got chiefs that were practicing this throughout Africa,
And some of them put it as, no, this is another thing I heard, right? It's a myth. It could be busted or it could be the truth. I don't know. It's one of those that they say as a man, as a chief, for you to have a little bit more power, you sleep with boys because you're taking the masculine energy away from them.
I'm glad you're touching base on that because...
Is it that really?
Other source of killings, they emerge from that I'm a business person, but right now I need a brain of a gay person. If I can kill a gay person and get that brain, and then it would be buried where my business is, my business is going to flourish.
That's witchcraft.
I need breast of a lesbian woman, breast that has never been touched by a man, so that they could be buried in. So there are other practices that makes us or expose us to be killed. Do you understand how sad
So are we fine with going through that witchcraft than actually just accepting that people are who they are?
Do you see how sad it is?
We're fine with going through witchcraft and killing people
for your selfish gains.
For your selfish gains.
But somebody needs to die in the process. Somebody needs to die in the process.
That is
it's
such
very
a mess.
sad. There's a woman that was found last year, I think, in Mpumalanga at Tweefontein. Her breast was amputated. And you ask yourself, why was the breast amputated? It's because of such practices.
The stigma.
It's the practices. They wanted the breast of a woman that was untouched. So those are the things that we also need to talk about. We need to come as a collective, even if it means we need to call upon spiritual leaders, to have teaching or based on this. I think we need the same way they are teaching about albinism in Africa. I think we also need
could also stop killing albinos for the same reason.
We need the very same effort. We need to take the very same measures. Teaching people. It's not okay to teach a person just because of your selfish gain. But some other gay people have been killed because of that, because of a ritual that had to be performed. We needed Xolane's brain. We needed Xolane's eyes.
But how is it that Xolane's eyes are so valuable to you if you can't even accept what Xolane is? How are they so valuable to you?
They are valuable because I've never been in contact with the woman. So whatever powers that they need, they are with me. So I'm only good to them for my powers, according to them.
They can believe that, but they can't accept
cannot
that
accept the person that I am. Because you also find your thing is, what do we call them? But we have guys that also do your robberies, your do hijackings and whatnot. They have a belief that before you go out there, you need to get a gay guy and sleep with them. Do not sleep with the person that tends to have a menstrual a cycle. You need to get one of your gay guys and then there's a power process that you'll go there and then everything will be sorted out.
We need to bust these myths.
Exactly.
We need to bust the myths. People should stop doing demonic stuff out there, all in the name of, I'm going to get the power. If you believe so much that you can kill Xolane and take his eyes because of certain things, what is so difficult about accepting who the gay community or who the LGBTQ plus community is?
I think we like disinfecting issues as communities. Remember the outbreak in 96 when they talk about HIV and whatnot. Around 98, 99, most guys were sleeping with gay people with the mentality that if I sleep with this person, I'm going to heal myself. And after that, most gay people were infected. And then it changed. Another myth was that these are the carriers. So you see the mindset. It's like we are playing mindset amongst ourselves.
So you become the carriers now. After these guys come, the so-called straight guys come to sleep with you.
They were saying that if you sleep with a gay person or a virgin, you'll be healed.
And then they come and demonize you after they did that to you.
Do you understand? Do you understand?
It's the exact same concept of sleeping, a guy sleeping with so many women. And then after that, they come and demonize the women and saying they lose. While the guy is the one running around.
Thank you.
Anyway, let's talk about spirituality now that we were at it.
Yeah.
How do you identify with spirituality as yourself right now, as who you are, and obviously being in Africa?
Yeah. It's so sad. I've always been a Christian all my life. All my life, I've always been a Christian. And the spirituality path, I think it took its course in 2018. I'm proud to say I'm a very spiritual person right now. Yeah, I'm a spiritual person. I have a beautiful relationship with my ancestors. And I think I'm learning every day. I'm becoming every day. And I'm growing every day through their guidance. So I don't know, spirituality, it's a very huge part of my life. And I don't know, for some odd reasons, I think it's spirituality that made me like this. I have that belief.
Why? Why do you think it's spirituality?
Okay, I believe that I'm working on somebody else's life path. That's my belief. So, and I also believe that there are certain spirits that live in me, and I also understand that there are certain spirits that cannot work on a certain individual, but I see them; they're manifesting in me. So there's a higher purpose why I'm like this. That's my understanding.
How do you see the manifestation of these spirits? How do you personally see that?
Through a lot of things. it's like through listening to them. Because prior 2018, I could have said that I can hear the Holy Spirit speaking, but now I can tell that this is my ancestor's voice. Even I always meet them in my dreams, and it's so beautiful. It hurts. And prior that, I would think that this is a demonic world.
Because you were taught that it's demonic.
Because I was taught that this world is demonic. So I've always feared to be me, to be black, to be African, But now I'm in that a point whereby I'm embracing everything, that I'm an African child. I carry the blood of my ancestors, and they resonate in me, So that's a beautiful journey and experience as well for me as a person.
So now there's this myth, right, that people are now going for initiation, but it's mostly gay people. So now people are starting to say it's
an association of some sort.
Yeah, it's fashionable now. It's fashionable to be gay, to be lesbian, and you're going through initiation. They think other people would say, probably Christians, mostly, would say it's a spirit. Now there's this spirit of now going to initiation, but it's all the gay people.
I think like what you just said earlier on, that everything we try to associate it with being gay. HIV, gay people are carriers. Gay people, men eaters. Gay people, now they're undergoing the initiation and whatnot. But I think we need to understand as African people that where are we coming from and where are we going? And this is my take in what is currently happening, that our ancestors are very angry. They have been angry for a very longest time ever. And right now, I think we are in a transition period, or whereby the ancestors are also evolving. That is why we are seeing so many things like this are happening. People are initiating, people are becoming in touch with their thing, their spiritual journey, and what this is who we are. We cannot run away from that. And let's not forget that the heterosexual people, most of them are Christians. And Christianity and the spiritual world, these are two dimensions that don't even meet. Do you understand? Yes. And Xolane as a person comes from this minority group that is often secluded, from the rest. And I think we sit in those spaces and discover ourselves and discover the power that we harness. That is why we're seeing most gay people and lesbians are undergoing the initiation school. It's because these people are so in touch with what is happening in their veins, They're so in touch with what is happening around them, So I guess the heterosexual, they are so oblivious, or they turn a blind eye when it comes to that, I feel that spirituality is not just for everybody. It's either you are gifted or there's a calling, know. And when it's a gift, before you turn 30, it needs to manifest. But when it's a calling, you can be called at the age of 35 or 40. It doesn't matter. So I think that those are the other things that you also need to look at, the bloodlines and whatnot. So, but gay people, I know for sure, we love anything that takes us there. You can go in church, you'll find them in what you call those things? Church leaders, the singers.
Everywhere.
Yes,
the singers, the crafts.
Because that is who we are. We are in touch with our spiritual sides. It hurts. We are in touch, with those heavens that resonate, whether it's the water spirit or the heaven spirit or the mountain spirit, but we are in touch with those spirits. So I think that is why most gay people are initiating to be sangomas. And it's not just initiating to be sangoma and come back and work. At times, there's something that needs to be unlocked in the family. But everybody else doesn't want to go and unlock that.
They don't,
or, or reconcile whatever that is happening with the ancestors. So we tend to do that.
How I wish we had time just for that. Just for that last topic there. How I wish we had time. Oh, Xolane. Listen, to other lighter things.
Yeah.
Tell me about your line, Xoli M.
Xoli M is a very nice, bold, sophisticated brand. I discovered it last year. what happened is I'm a hustler. I always hustle around things. So, but last year in March, I had a dream. I dreamed about my grandmother, and she had one of these with her. It was red with a Ndebele print on it, and she put it me on. And I knew when I woke up that I need to run with this. So this is how my baby was born. So this year, September 11th, I'm turning 1. People can find me on Instagram. I'm only M87. I'm currently working on the thing or on the website as well. Yeah. So in August, I want to launch a women's range because women have been talking that, why are you not? But I wanted to celebrate men first. You know, it's I respect African men, and it's so sad that this issue, the underwear issue, it's not a comfortable issue when it comes to men. You'll find a man with 2 underwears, you know, and wearing them for a whole year.
Because for them, it doesn't matter.
It
as long as I'm wearing something.
As long as I have something. So I think Xolane it's about to celebrate that you are men, you are awesome. You know, you also need to look sexy. So I have a range of briefs, boxers, and also have jockstrap as well, but I don't have them with me.
Okay.
So that's basically
So where can people order? How do they order? What are your price ranges like?
Moment. Okay, for 2 boxes at the moment, they're 175. And then 3 briefs like this, they are 250, non-printed. But the ones with print, if they are 3, they are 450.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do a lot of things as well. I create events around the brand. Xolane Experience. I partner with other musicians. So I tend to have a ramp, you know, the walking thing, the stalls, the music, and the booze. So that's the brand association. I work with the likes of Ndunja as well. Yeah, I move around Gauteng because now I'm on a plan that let's visit each and every township that we have in South Africa. I want to work with other designers, not a brand owners, but designers, because all my pieces are made from scratch. So I want to work with other brand designers.
So you're saying people can go onto your Instagram page,
Xolane
87.
Yes.
And when they click on it, they'll see all the products.
All the products.
They will see all the prices, and they will see where they can actually order.
Exactly.
Oh, I see.
Just at the current, I'm still working on the website thing. It's a very nice brand, hey?
It's very nice.
It's a very nice brand.
Well, Xolane, thank you so much for being with us today.
Pleasure.
It's been great meeting you, and hopefully we'll meet again as we expand on these topics.
Indeed.
Thank you. Guys, as you've heard, we are busting myths on sex and sexuality. Don't be scared to ask any questions. Please don't assume that when you see the LGBTQ community that this is a gay person, this is a lesbian person, or anything. Ask questions on things you do not understand. Because the fact that people are not asking questions, that's what's causing other people to go out there on attacks on the LGBTQ communities. And I don't think it's on. We've come to the end of our podcast. My name is Xolane Rampuana, and you can find me on Instagram at Puli Ram. Till next time.